Hello and welcome to Day 2 of the Lakshmi Narayana Global Music Festival 2022. In the 31 years that we've had the festival, we've been honored and grateful to present music in all corners of the world, in over 50 cities, over 20 countries. And today, although the festival is online and we can't be with you in person, we decided to share some extremely special content of very special friends of the Lakshmi Narayana Global Music Festival. Today, we're sharing never-before-seen archival footage of the one and only legend, drummer Billy Cobham. The first piece you're going to see is Grasshopper, performed live at the Gateway of India with Dr. L Subramaniam, Billy Cobham, and others. Enjoy the music. That was Grasshopper, a never-before-seen recording from the Gateway of India with Dr. L Subramaniam, Billy Cobham, and others. As artists who have collaborated for decades and close friends, we're excited to present a conversation, an interview, a dialogue between two friends and legends, Dr. L Subramaniam and Billy Cobham.
Billy, it's so great to see you after a long time. And it would have been wonderful to have you back in India, maybe sometime in the near future. And I know all this situation, COVID and all those things has created a lot of panic among everybody and a lot of distress among everybody. How are you doing?
Well, I noticed it before you leave about the COVID. I noticed that India seems to be well in control of it. It seems like everything is flat at the moment, and that's you guys are blessed. That's really great. Here in Panama, we are experiencing a mild upswing in the amount of people with the Omicron thing, but it's not so far so bad. We're a very small country. We don't even have, what, 1 million people? I don't think. We don't have.
You were born in Panama.
Yes.
Can you tell me something about your childhood?
Yes, it's a little something because I was born in 1944 in Colón. And in 1947, I was on a boat called the Cristobal, and we were going to New York City. That was the end of it. I was 3 years old and finished, so I don't very much remember anything past that.
And any family members of yours into music?
My father, my mother, my grandmother, my cousins. I'm trying to think of who missed. It's my brother. As far as I can remember, we have a strong pedigree of musicians who played for love more than anything else. Their main work was completely different. My father was a mathematician, and he was into what do they call it? He had a gift in that he was kind of a walking calculator, So it was the kind of situation where he was a statistician in the hospital. In 1948, he got the job, finally left after 40 years at Bronx General Hospital. But he was a piano player at the same time. And in order to think, he loved to just play piano. He was a piano player who never had a piano in the house.
Oh my God.
He learned to play piano from his older brother because their father would not allow two musicians, the boys, in music. There was a religious family, a Nigerian family living in Panama, and so the oldest boy was told to be the musician for the church. The next oldest boy, there was only two, was told to go and become a scientist. And so he did, because his father told him to do so. And he was, but he loved music, so he would watch the lessons from the teacher of my uncle, whom I don't know, and he would remember everything that my uncle did. So my uncle he was practicing. He couldn't be in the room, but he could stand outside the door and watch. And he watched. The next thing you know, my father was playing very fluidly with no idea what key he was playing in. There was so much music in the house that he walked around with all these melodies in his head. So he would just sit down and play on someone else's piano somewhere else where where the family couldn't see. And the next thing you know, he was earning extra money because, of course, black people in the United States back in those days, it was tough, but everyone in the community, all the communities found a way. It was bad, yes, but somehow we survived. In desperation, your mind works. You've got to get this done somehow. How can we get this happening? And
Wow. Wow.
My mother, she sang more church. My brother was not born until 51, or I think was that year, because he's 7 years younger than me. But again, he ends up now. He's a trumpet player. He's worked with Paul Simon and all the people, in the bands, and he does that in the United States now as a retiree, though. My grandmother happened to play Celeste, which is like a Latin American instrument, guitar. She did that for a while, and sang just more for us around the house. And for my father, he had a gift, but he didn't know how to. He couldn't really bring people into his world because he just didn't have time. It was like, you must understand this, otherwise I have no time for you. And he and I didn't go well with that one at all. Because I mean, even when writing music, I'm very slow. I just have to sit down and take my time. My compositions take months, years before I finally find a comfortable spot in my brain for something. I mean, I've written tunes that I put away maybe 30 years ago. And we played it, and I went, I'm not ready for this. I don't know what else to do with it. I'll put it away. 30 years later, I recorded again, but now I have more of an understanding of what I want to do and who I want to play it with and how it should be presented. And I feel then I feel comfortable with it. Then I play it for a while, but I move on. You bring these things back, and that's what music is for me. It's a living kind of dimension in my mind.
What was your first introduction to music?
Playing with music, hearing musicians like Xavier Cugat or Latin musicians, because of my Latin upbringing, all of that came. When we got to Brooklyn, that came with us, but then it was opened up into jazz, but in a way I would never expect. I mean, to hear Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker and all these people that my dad somehow was connected with. I didn't understand it. It just was a lot of notes, of course, to me. But the foundation of it all was highly rhythmic. And in the summertime, every Saturday morning, there was a bunch of musicians that came together at one point in a park that we lived across the street from. And they would play from maybe 8 o'clock in the morning until about 10 or 11 o'clock. Just play. As I said, it was a Nigerian family, basically, rooted. But they somehow got to, through slavery or whatever, the family, to San Lucia, which it was owned by the Spanish, and it was at one time owned by the Dutch and the British in the colony. So a lot of Nigerian slaves came to work on the Panama Canal.
When did you decide to become a musician?
I was about 5 years old, and maybe a little bit older. Can't be much more. I had a bunch of friends in the neighborhood. I mean, on our street, maybe 6 other children like this, boys, and we played together games all the time, tag and kids games, baseball, stickball. And one day we would sit down in the summer, there was nothing else to do. We'd done everything we wanted, but our parents didn't want us in the house because they were cleaning. And they said, get out, you can't, get in the way. So we would sit on the stairs of one of our friends, even my building sometimes. And then we would, okay, I wonder what do you want to do when you grow up, And everybody would, I want to be this and I want to be that. And I went, okay. But I was a little guy. I was the smallest one of them all. And Billy, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a musician, drummer. I said, you can't play drums? Of course, competitive, you know. What? What are you talking about? I can play drums. No, you can't play. I can. No, you can't. No, I can. Yeah, I can. No, I can. Okay, prove it. Okay. And I'd go and put my hands on the car fender and start to play. And they would go, wow, Billy can play the drums. Wow. You know, that is an amazing thing. To this day I remember, because they didn't know what they wanted to do. And I knew what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was play the instrument because I enjoyed playing it. And I enjoyed listening to the people who played it, listening, not watching, listening. The imagination is so important. At some point in time, you don't want to see them. You just want to imagine what they did, because now you have to put one hand in front of the other to do whatever that is, or fingers to get those notes.
Can you say that these are the few people who inspired you or continue to inspire you? Any names?
My inspiration comes from my community. My inspiration for playing comes from the events, or I should say, for lack of a better term, my experiences. Heck, great example. When I met you, I did not understand really who you were or how it worked in terms of your presentation in music. I only knew that you came from a country that I was not familiar with at all, past one time ever having been there. And I was very curious to experience our relationship. Now I play that relationship. I go, in my mind, it's an experience, and I hear certain things a certain way. And it's like a constant blanket that's being knitted together, one experience after the next in life. And that's what inspires me. My off-stage experiences as well as on stage.
Any memories of India you want to talk about?
It's when I think about my experiences in India, they're visual. It's so rich. The information is so thick. Just going from just getting in the taxi cab. I mean, it's just the cacophony of sound. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I'm going, we haven't even left yet. You've told the taxi cab driver where we want to go, and he put his hand on the horn first to start the horn, and the car hasn't left yet. And I'm going, okay, how does this work, you know? And these are the things like that remind me. It's so unique. I can't say enough about it.
You are also involved in education, like you are visiting professor, you travel, teach, and can you say something about it, please?
Well, I found that the paradox in that whole situation, whether we say teaching, it's more like sharing ideas and thoughts. I remember Maestro Bernstein with my then student Seiji Ozawa, who knew all about music, and Ozawa by then was just recalling a story generally where he says that he went to study with Maestro Bernstein at his home, and he didn't know what was going to be that they're going to learn. He was going to learn, Maestro Bernstein said, you're here. Okay, keep your coat on. Let's go. And so they went walking. Maestro Bernstein took him to the movies, to sit in the movies, to watch actors and another situation was cartoons. He was trying to get him to open his mind up to be flexible. So how he viewed the notes on the score as more living and multidimensional than just one-dimensional, without telling him that. He was just trying to find, that's my belief, that he was trying to find a correlation. For me teaching, I find that the easiest way to get an idea across to someone who is really serious about, or a student, let's say, that needs to understand how to phrase and all, is to do it and say, come, me and you together, we play. Okay. Now, I want you to listen to me and phrase with me. Use me as a guide. Or when it comes to drumming as well, I mean, the instrument, sometimes it's most important, not sometimes, it's important to understand the instrument you play. What is the makeup of the instrument? So you take the instrument apart and you look at all the parts and this is boring to students. Yes, I get it. But when you put it back together again and you play it with the understanding of what goes into this thing to make you sound that way, that how you present, you play with more respect for yourself and for the instrument. You know what is going to happen, that how great the range of that instrument could be or small. You know so much about that, just that one element. And if you're playing a multiple tom set, exponentially, it's huge.
If you didn't play the drum, what other instrument you would have selected?
Probably I would have played marimba.
Yeah. Which is your favorite place for performance, you mean?
The Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis. Yeah. The Tyrone Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis I don't even think it exists anymore, but it was where the symphony in Minneapolis played. I never in my life have ever played in a hall like that.
Do you have a favorite place where you play you really enjoy because you think they are with you completely?
Sure. 3 places. 1968 with Horace Silver at the Copenhagen Jazz Festival. Was the first time I felt like I had left my body and I was watching everybody on the bandstand, including myself, and it freaked me totally out. I didn't know what to do. But we've been playing for 10 months on the average, between 2 and 3 weeks a month. So yes, we knew this music, and I didn't understand that. Okay. Then the next time around, that was 68, 1972, we were so tired in the band with the MO, and we were playing this Lotus on an Irish Stream or something, I don't know. But I found myself sitting in the balcony of the Olympia Theater, watching the band on the stage, including me, play this tune.
Which city was this?
Paris. Olympia, Paris. And the last one was in St. Petersburg at the Symphony Hall or so. And we were doing something, and all of a sudden, and what was unique about that is that it's just very unique with my band. We'd been playing for a long, and all of a sudden I wasn't there. I was watching us. It was very, very scary. I mean, just for me, it was like, wow, how did I get here? And why are we playing so long? And this just this world opened up, and we were just at a point where we actually got that feeling of connectivity where we were one. It's a very interesting thing to have, and you never know when it's going to come. But everyone has to contribute, otherwise, no way can you achieve that.
You worked with Miles Davis also, isn't it?
Of course.
How was it working with him?
The school of higher learning is a good way of putting it. Miles doesn't talk to you, or he didn't talk to you. He played to you. His body language, you did what you did. He knew how to mold that into something. He was a manager. Can you imagine, Manny, inviting Keith Jarrett, Chick Corea, the great Larry Young on organ, Herbie Hancock, and Joe Zawinul all to the same studio at the same time, right? But just a choir of keyboard players, right? Now, here's the heavy. He never told them what to play. There was just an 8-note phrase, not necessarily diatonic. Those notes, that was what we were going to play around. I think I was in the studio with Tony Williams on drums as well. Ron Carter was playing bass, and Harvey Brooks from Big Brother and the Holding Company was playing electric bass. McLaughlin playing guitar. Benny Maupin playing bass clarinet, or Steve Grossman playing tenor saxophone. Badal Roy Chowdhury playing tabla. Ayrton Moreira playing percussion. And Illyria Lima playing more percussion, all in the same room at the same time. And the heavy is that the keyboard players never played at the same time. They just played when they felt they had something to say. Sometimes their silence was more important than the notes.
Wow, fantastic.
There's a lesson in that.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And what do you think of Tony Williams? What do you think of his playing?
He was a great musician. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I say that without any prejudice at all. I mean, he's a specialist in a certain way. That's what it was, my friend. Okay.
All the very best.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Lovely to see you. Looking forward to doing some music together.
All the best for the family.
Thanks.
Right?
Take care. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed Day 2 of the Lakshmi Narayana Global Music Festival 2022, and we look forward to having you with us tomorrow.